I am extremely rough, so I apologise if I am not on top form today. But it seems that everyone is loving my internet hysteria videos at the minute. The Momo one kind of semi-blew up. That's a lot of views for little old me, and I really appreciate it, so thank you so much. So what I've gathered, I see a lot of people prefer my non-true crimey videos, so I'm going to stick with what the majority are enjoying, and I thought we could make this into a little bit of a series. So today I actually have another case of mass internet hysteria, and this one is in regards to the Talking Angela hoax that happened, get this, 10 years ago. 10 years ago. I bet I've just made you feel really fucking old, because I feel old. Anyway, without further ado, I'm actually just going to get straight into it. I'll quit yapping. Let's go. So if you're a bit younger or you've lived under a rock, Talking Angela is a mobile game, and it was really popular in early mid 2010s. It was developed by a studio named Outfit 7 as part of the quote Talking Tom and Friends series, because that's right, it wasn't just a game on its own, it had a whole series full of different characters. The game Talking Angela was released on the 13th of November 2012 for Apple, and then it was released in January 2013 for Android. Just another reason why Apple is better than Android. But what is this app all about? Who is Angela and why is she talking? Well, Angela is a little cat. She's a white little Persian cat who also has other friends such as Talking Tom, Talking Ben, Talking Ginger and Talking Hank. Basically, these games are like AI chatterbots, but before AI was as big as it is today. Do you remember Cleverbot and Talking Evie from way back when? They basically used that kind of software to chat to you. But only Talking Angela did that. The rest of them were just would repeat what you say, you'd speak to it and it would repeat it back in a higher pitched voice. Not only that, according to Wikipedia, in my hard set research that I've been doing for these videos, these little their own personality traits, because of course they do, why wouldn't they? With Talking Ben being a grumpy dog and a chemistry professor for some reason, and Talking Ben enjoys doing things and inventing new science and technology because he is a god. He is a god. That is what he's going to do. He has been put on this earth actually to make the cure for cancer, just putting that out there. Talking Ginger is this little cat here, and he is actually Talking Tom's nephew, and Talking Tom is Talking Angela's girlfriend. There's a whole lore going on about these characters. It's not just simple little apps, these guys have lore. They have personality traits and, character developments that have happened throughout the years. Talking Angela is described as a white cat with a love for travel, singing, fashion and dancing, and I mean slay queen. I didn't even realise that these games were that popular, but it actually led to them getting their own web series, which aired until December 2021, because that's exactly what the world was missing. As a whole, Talking Angela had around 57 million downloads in total, and this video is probably going to explain why that number is so high. But the franchise itself has had more than 1.5 billion downloads with all of their apps combined. Now that is crazy. And that is since this company, Outfit 7, launched in 2010. So what I'm trying to say here, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you probably have a life outside of the internet. You probably have touched lots of grass. But anyway, instead of talking about the rest of the franchise, this video is solely going to focus on Talking Angela and the controversy that came along with it. So Talking Angela was a little bit different to the other Talking Friends apps. Talking Angela, I'm sure she also had the technology to repeat everything that you say to her, but you could also have conversations with the cat and she would answer you. You would type to the cat and she would talk back. As I said, same as Cleverbot and that Evie thing on the internet. You can customise her appearance, you can make a little friendship with a robot cat. What is not to love about that? The chatbot that was used in the software of Talking Angela is the same one that they used in the early days of home computing. So it was nothing new, it had been around for a while and nothing creepy with it had ever happened before. And Talking Angela came with a child mode, and if you switched the child mode off, this would be how you would communicate with Angela, like having conversations, because for some reason adults were downloading this game. Bit weird. But she would ask questions such as, how old are you? What did you do today? I'd like to be your friend. What's your name? But at some point, people had decided that Angela was getting a little bit creepy. She was getting a little bit weird. I mean, Angela would ask users how old they were, and that is like, fair enough, that's more than what some people do. But while chatting, she would also throw in some like random phrases, and I quote, "You know what's fun too? A clothing swap party. Have you ever been to such a party?" I mean, she ain't wearing clothes, first of all, so I think she's lying too. And then she would talk about how she and her boyfriend Tom had swapped clothes at a party before and it was so fun. Someone get out the spray bottle for this cat, please. She needs to simmer it down. She'll even tell you that, quote, cat sex is hair-raising. It's perfect. Who is asking a cat about its sex life? Who is asking a robot cat about its sex life? Apparently someone did. And apparently children would do that as well, which, I mean, it's just weird. I don't even know how this was discovered, and I don't think I want to know. Now, to me, a talking cat app is a children's app. I don't think it needs to come with an adult mode, child mode, toggle switch, because it's a child's app. No adult is gonna voluntarily download a talking cat app, I don't think. Like, it's very clearly aimed at children, so why do you need to feature such inappropriate content in it with a child switch on an app that is dedicated for children? It's weird. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It doesn't really make sense to me. It leaves me feeling a little bit weird. But people have argued that, well, there is a child mode, so some of the children shouldn't have even been using the unfriendly child mode text bot app, which is just stupid because the child mode toggle thing is so easy to access as a child. You just click a button, disengage child mode, there you go. And a kid's gonna do that? Too right they are, because they're kids, they're stupid. But if that's the case, then children shouldn't be using it at all, in my opinion, because why is a child app coming with a non-friendly adult version that children can access just as easy as adults? It's weird. This was like the segue into the bigger picture of this hoax that I'm about to tell you about, because this was like the first brick that was placed in this story, because while this had happened, the story then began to snowball, and it snowballed into something truly mind-blowing, to be honest, because this wasn't the only reason why Talking Angela was so controversial, but this is where I think it started. In February of 2014, yes, 2014, nearly 11 years ago, Talking Angela would be skyrocketed into the spotlight for all of the wrong reasons. In fact, probably the worst reason that you could ever imagine. Talking Angela became the subject of an internet hoax, and this hoax was alleging that the app encouraged children to disclose personal information about themselves, which would then be used by P-rings, and these P-words would then identify the location of the children through this app. I know. So basically, someone out there had decided that the reason why Talking Angela was asking all of these questions was because this app was run by a P-ring, and this P-ring was trying to get information from children that were using the app. I know. How crazy is that? The post of this hoax originated on, not 4chan for once, not 4chan. 4chan is off the hook today. It originated on Facebook, which you'll find in this series a lot of the posts originate from Facebook because Facebook mums are crazy. And it went as far, this post was talking about how their child named Angelica had been speaking to Angela on this app, but then Angela began to get weird and talk in a robotic voice, which I'm gonna be real, I don't believe, about like this child's location. And then this post goes as far to say that there was someone in the cat's eye, their eye reflection, watching her child. I shit you not. Like, as if this was a live broadcasting app where a P-word is watching your child through the cat's eye. Even saying it out loud, it sounds so crazy, but people were eating this up. People were taking this at face value, and people were like, yo, we need to do something about this, this is crazy. When, like, if you just thought about it for 2 seconds, you'd think, hold on a minute, let's think about this logically. That's a little bit crazy. crazy. And then because of this first post that like skyrocketed on Facebook, I remember seeing the original post, but then this kind of made a load of other Facebook mums chime in on it, and then they made their own posts about their child using this app, and some of the versions said that the app was recording their children through like the phone camera and someone was watching them through the eye of the cat, like. But what didn't help this is that Talking Angela could recognise facial features. She could recognise, you know, when you smiled or stuck your tongue out, and she would say like, oh, haha, what a funny face, like put your tongue away, which is like, fine, because Snapchat filters do this. Like, Snapchat filters recognise when you smile and when you stick your tongue out. There doesn't need to be a person behind the screen to know that, you know, that's just basic facial recognition technology. That's not because there's a person watching your child. Does that make sense? Like the dog filter on Snapchat, when you stuck your tongue out, a robotic tongue would also stick out, you know? But this was global, and this wasn't just in the UK, this wasn't in America, this was global. This was gone in Europe, as there was a chain letter written about it in French. It was absolutely everywhere, and people were losing their minds about this app. And I was 12 years old at the time of this happening, and I fully remember my mother, my sweet, sweet mother, telling me not to download the cat app because she was scared I was going to get kidnapped. And my mum is an avid Facebook user, so. Because of this, people like to prey on scared people to get clicks and to get a bit of money. And it went as far to the point where someone had pretended a child had gone missing because of this hoax. Let me explain, because I didn't know this. Was unaware of this until I researched this case. A sick website. It was like a humour website. I'm not even going to say the name of the website because it's just kind of gross and I feel like I don't need to give them any more credibility, but if you Google it, you can find it anywhere. But this website was spreading an untrue story, claiming that a 7-year-old boy had gone missing after his mother had installed the Talking Angela app onto her phone. And this was also being shared on Facebook. Now, I'm going to read the post out from, like, what I found, so bear with me. This little boy was supposedly named Eli Marino, and he supposedly vanished from Dallas. Thursday morning, Jasmine Marino installed the popular Talking Angela app on her iPhone for her 7-year-old son Eli to play with. She noticed the Talking Angela app asking questions that seemed very odd. The Talking Angela app asked, "Are your parents home?" and even went as far as asking, "What are you wearing right now?" At the time, she didn't suspect that a child was on the other side of the app communicating with her young son Eli. Just pausing right there a moment. The fact that people fully believed a P-word was behind this app is crazy, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later as to why this is crazy, but anyway, we carry on. Friday morning, she let Eli play with her phone when she was showering, and by the time she was ready to drive Eli to school, he was missing. She reported him missing 1 hour later, and a detective asked her if she had the Talking Angela app on her phone, because, you know, that's what a police officer would ask the mother of a missing child. Have you downloaded the Talking Angela app? Because if you did, what can I say? That's on you. See in a bit. The mother was stunned to find out that several kids in some neighbourhood have gone missing. Several kids in some neighbourhood had gone missing. After installing the app, the website, talked to a local detective, and he told us, "We have been tracking the Angela P-word for days, and now he's like a shadow. We are assuming this news hasn't been made public to keep app users from panicking." This news hasn't been made public because it's not real. It was an absolute hoax. Eli Marino is not a missing boy, and I don't actually think he ever was, because I tried to find, because sometimes missing children can be dragged into stuff like this, which is sick, which is absolutely gross. But I was like, okay, maybe Eli was a missing boy and his case has got roped into it. But I searched for ages and I could not find an Eli Marino that was missing. So this was a hoax. Someone had lied and pretended that a child had gone missing because of an app on a phone to scare people. That is gross. I couldn't find any articles other than the Talking Angela thing. I couldn't find any articles relating to an Eli Marino that was missing. The only thing that came up was regards to the Talking Angela, and none of them were from CNN or I don't know, any other American Telegraph people.com, there was none of that. But as you can imagine, this post got shared on Facebook, and the Facebook mums were out in full force. They had full-on mama bear coming out, and they were like, oh my god, I'm gonna confiscate my kids' phones, they can't download any apps ever again. Like, they don't stop and think, they just panic. And I understand why people panic, because it's their children, but at the same time, come on. Come on. And the mums were fully claiming that this tool was a P-word tool, that P-words were using to talk to, groom and kidnap your children. But we're going to debunk this now. We're going to explain why, if you just think about it for a little bit. If you just thought about it for a little bit, you'd know, oh, it's not true. So ladies and gentlemen, they, thems and everyone else in between, I'm going to ask you to put your thinking caps on for a moment, and we're just going to think, would it be possible for P-words to use an app like Talking Angela to kidnap kids? No, not really. This app had millions and millions of downloads, and you're telling me that people believed that a P-word was watching your child as they were playing on this game. You would have to have recruited millions and millions of P-words to do this, and I'm gonna be real with y'all, your child ain't special. I'm gonna be real, your child ain't special. The creator of the app actually, was doing interviews because of how big this was, and bro was like, I am not a P-word, I've just made this, innocent child franchise app, and why has this happened? And he basically came out and said to The Guardian, quote, obviously it's a hoax. I don't know how it got started or how it got traction, but these things just happen. Quote, we have millions of users every day using this app. Can you imagine? We'd need an army of P-words. It's ridiculous. Exactly. The claims were that P-words were watching every single child on this app, and were like, people, just saying it out loud now just sounds so crazy. And it wasn't even that long ago. This talking app technology wasn't even that new. This was something that had been seen before. The creator then went on to suggest that if parents use the app for a short period of time, they'll feel reassured that Angela is just a virtual cat with a chatbot handling conversational duties. Even though it could be easily believed that you were talking to a person if you were a boomer or a Gen X parent that didn't really understand how the internet worked, if you pay some attention, everybody can easily find out that it's not a person on the other side, because sometimes you'd ask a question and she'd just start blabbing about something else completely random, or wouldn't answer the question that you were asking, she'd just mention something about pickles, or just something like that. You would realise that it's, quote, only a semi-intelligent conversation that you were having. There is no way that there is an adult talking to someone on the other side. It then went on to say, quote, we have no communication to our servers. The brains of the engine are in the mobile app, and everything that the engine responds to is pre-scripted. So that leads me to believe, I've just vaguely said then, that this was just another example of parents from the Gen X generation or the boomers generation, or maybe even millennials, just not understanding how the internet works, just not getting it, and they see something that they don't understand and they immediately think, danger, danger, my child is going to get kidnapped. It appears that most of the people that spread the hoax messages haven't actually tested the app themselves. They would just see it on Facebook, take it at face value, and then make up their own stories, kind of similar to how the Momo challenge happened. People just jumped on the trend for a little bit of Facebook mummy, golden points, golden stars, you know what I mean? They were just trusting what the scammy messages said without really properly documenting it. And once again, because children were so heavily told not to download the app, what did children do? They downloaded the app, they just did it in secret. Once again, giving something the attention that they so wanted to not give it, they ended up giving it because they were telling people not to download it. I was one of them. I downloaded the app because I was told not to. Which is probably why Talking Angela, the whole series in general, has that many downloads today. Because I feel like if this didn't happen, this would just be another niche little franchise. I remember kids coming into school and being like, do you want to come and play Talking Angela with me at break time? Do you want to come and sit and play Talking Angela and get her to say weird stuff to me at lunchtime? And I'd be like, oh, yeah, okay. And you'd think you were doing something dead naughty when really you weren't. You were just playing an app for what it was intended for. But I mean, the creator was laughing about it, his pockets were full. Well, I mean, after the allegations had died down. And this is because humans are naturally curious. You tell us not to do something and we're going to want to do it. It's the exact same with the Momo thing. History is going to repeat itself, I'm afraid. But then, Then this hoax then died down, right? And then people forgot about it because they were like, yeah, okay, this is kind of stupid. Let's jump on to the next thing. But in 2015, a year later, the hoax actually came back up again. Like, someone shared it again on Facebook and they tried to, you know, bring it back. But this prompted the online security company Sophos and The Guardian to debunk it again. Like, they came out and were like, yeah, let's put a stop to this bullshit right now. We've had enough of this. We did this all last year. Let's not do it again. So just because this was like a hoax, it, you know, the aftermath and genuine concerns, you know, still had a little bit of an impact, because genuine concern had been raised that the child's game mode was too easily like accessible for children, like to just switch off. Which, if they did, then also would allow them to make in-app purchases, which again is another thing that I could go on a whole tirade about, but I'm not gonna. So you could purchase coins in the game, which is like the in-game currency, but it takes real money. Like, you know how an in-app purchase works anyway, and you know what kids are like when they get mummy's credit card. They will spend because they have no concept of money. Disabling the child mode also meant that they could use the chat feature, which is where all the weird stuff from Talking Angela was coming from. Like, the whole weird stuff that was coming out of it wasn't because of humans, it was just the chatbot being weird. And while this app wasn't connecting your child to P-words, it was still, you know, raised for concern just because of the, I don't know, the strip parties that she was talking about. But anyway, the scare significantly boosted the game's popularity, and like I said, if it wasn't for this scare, this app would still probably be like really niche and nowhere near as big as it is. And because of this, the app actually made it into like the top 10 free iPhone apps soon after the hoax, which was a thing. And at one point it actually made it to the third most popular game for iPhones of all time in like 2015 at one point. But then it doesn't actually end there, because I know a lot of you are probably thinking, well, I'm going to download this app now just to, you know, just to try it out. Well, you can't do that, because in 2016, the company Outfit 7 behind the app actually removed the chat feature from Talking Angela, along with the camera function, due to the controversy. I mean, okay, yeah, fair enough. I mean, I guess that's one way of them to take accountability. They'd just full on had enough. They'd already got the downloads. Like 2 years later, they were like, yeah, we can get rid of that now. We don't need it. We've got a web series starting in a year, so bye. We made the money. Here you go. But that is all the information I have on this controversy. If you have your own stories about this app, please put them in the comment sections. I love reading comments at the moment. They're amazing. I love reading everyone's little stories. But yeah, if you enjoyed, please let me know. If you have any requests, please leave them in the comments down below and I'll be sure to read up on them. But if you'd like to follow me on any other social medias, the links down below will be in the link tree, so go and click on that if you want to follow me anywhere else. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay safe.